All right. I love doing camera tests and seeing which camera works best for different situations. Yeah, bit of a nerd in that regard. But that being said, it's fun. It's fun for me. So I'm in my backyard here, and I basically have two cameras. I have the Nikon Z7II over on the left. I have the Nikon Z8 over on the right, and I am setting these cameras up on two separate tripods, and I'm taking the images at the exact same time. I have two 20 millimeter 1.8 S lenses on both cameras, and the settings are exactly the same. I went from 13 seconds to 15 minutes to test the cameras, and there's going to be a spoiler alert here. To be honest, there is really not that much difference in the cameras at all. It's really hard to see. I would say in the Z8, there's a little more micro contrast, especially in the foreground, that I can see. In the night sky, the Z7II, maybe just a hair cleaner. That said, these images are completely in the raw state. There's absolutely nothing done to them. So if I go ahead and I zoom in here to this 13-second exposure, you can see the cameras aren't quite lined up. They're almost, you can see this meteor going through the sky here. They were taking it, like I said, exactly the same time. But this is the Z7II and the Z8, and they're really, really almost identical. The thing I do like about the Z8 is the color science that Nikon put into this camera. It's not quite as green, and I tried to get the color, just changing the color temperature and the tint on the Nikon Z7II to match this one, and I couldn't quite do it. I know I could do it in Photoshop. I could get it exact, but everything here has exactly the same settings, color temperature, the white balance, all that, everything's exactly the same. So yeah, that I found that really interesting. As we go further to the right, let's do this. So as we're going further to the right, all these top images are Z7II images. The ones on the bottom are the Z8 images. Let's just go ahead and go all the way to the 15-minute exposure, and we'll open that up. And you can see the green cast on the Z7II and the Z8 here. If we go ahead and zoom in at 200%, you can see just how beautiful both files are, really. It's pretty phenomenal. And this was with long exposure noise reduction off. And you can see the micro contrast here in the grass on the Z8, and I think it's just absolutely beautiful. And there's a hot pixel, which is easy to get rid of on the Z7II. But yeah, there's a little hot pixel there on the Z8. So, those things happen at a 15-minute exposure. Pretty remarkable, actually, both cameras. I went ahead and let's do this. I went ahead and did it was a 8-minute exposure, and I put long exposure noise reduction on. Let's bring those in, and you can just see just how beautiful and how clean these files are. And this is 200% brought in. So yeah, both cameras just did a remarkable job at night photography. All right, so for me personally, why would I want to switch to the Z8? There's just not enough here to do that if you're just looking at the files. But I'm going to take this image, for instance. We'll go in here into Photoshop. I just finished processing this photograph, and this image probably is about 80 images stacked together. And what this is it's a vertical panorama at 180 degrees. So this petroglyph in northern Arizona was probably up at about 8.5 feet. And so there's no way with the Z7II I could have put this up on a tripod and have been able to see what my composition looked like. With the Z8, I'm able to put it up on the tripod. I'm able to flip the flip screen down, because remember, I'm on vertical right now, and I'm able to flip that screen down, and I'm able to actually compose my image. I'm able to figure out where I want it sharp. And so the first image that I took, really, it was about right through here, about the middle of this. And this is all focus stacked. So my camera's probably 10 inches away. This is all shot at night. I lit this up. Mark Munch and I were in this amazing canyon and full of petroglyphs. He was down lower shooting another scene. And we were lighting these up, and we just had a great time that night. But it probably took us over 3 hours to take this single image. And it was so much fun to do. But again, you know, my tripod, I was up all the way. I had to kind of push the legs in a little bit to even make it taller. And that was the only way I could have got this image, which, you know, it was fun to do. Another thing that I really, you know, am excited about with the Z8 is the starlight view that you do not have on the Z7II. The starlight view mode, you can turn that on, and it makes composing a scene amazing at night. You can literally see exactly what you're composing. No more taking a shot for 30 seconds, waiting for it, and then, you know, doing these micro adjustments to get your composition right at night. You look at starlight view mode, and man, you can compose and you're ready to shoot. Another thing that's really fun is the warm display colors. You can turn those on, and it really does a great job. You can see everything on the back of your screen, but it's not taking away your night vision at night, which is great. Another thing that I really love is Nikon brought back from the D850 is the illuminated back buttons, which is fabulous at night. You know, there's no guesswork. I mean, you pretty much get used to your camera. You know where the buttons are automatically, but this just takes all the guesswork out of it. And there's just little things like that. And of course, other than the night photography, if you're going to do any sports or wildlife, the focus system on here is just amazing. That said, you know, I'm going to enjoy the camera. Whether you have a Z7II or a Z8, either way, you're going to get incredible night images. And yeah, so happy shooting, guys, and just wanted to put this out there. So everyone have a good one.